Together. Brought to you by Marex Media and Mindspeak. Hi, I'm Kamal. Welcome to Anchored Together, a YouTube series that casts an exhilarating spotlight on the vibrant lives of shipping industry professionals and their families. Excitement and entertainment is what you get here in abundance. Allow me to introduce today's guests. They have been chosen especially because their topic is pride, prestige, and glorious memories of Scindia steamship. We will start with the senior gentleman here, Captain Thomas. Please tell us about yourself, sir.
My name is Esau Thomas. I was selected on the Dufferin, 1963-65 batch. Passed out June 65, and soon after joined Scindia's as a cadet. And those days, there was not much of choices in joining as a cadet. Scindia's was the best choice.
And Captain Sharma?
Yeah, hi. I am known as Yankee Sharma in the industry. I followed Captain Thomas on the Dufferin 8 years later, joining in 71. And in 73, when I passed out, it was from the new ship, the training ship General. And I was actually invited into Scindia to join them as a cadet.
You were a gold
Yes.
medalist.
That is why, perhaps, maybe. But it was a fantastic decision because at that time I didn't know where else to go. And wonderful journey it has been of 14 years that I spent in Scindia at the beginning of my career.
So, how do you both know each other? Did you meet while you were in Scindia's at some stage?
I had the pleasure of sailing with Captain Sharma, and we sailed together. And I can vouch that he's a very pleasant person to be with.
Yeah, but you got rid of me fast, so within 1 month. Not your fault. Thanks very much for that.
So, you were the captain there?
I was a captain.
And Captain Sharma?
I was a mate, and I was kind of a fresh mate, but it wasn't for lack of anything else. It was a medical issue, and I still thank till today Captain Thomas for actually diverting the ship back to Port Blair and taking me off there. It was in a bad way at that time. Ship was between Manila and Calcutta that time. Well, it didn't turn out to be anything very serious, but at that time on board, it's you don't know what's
I can
happening.
tell you something about it. In the morning at about, I think 5 or so, the second officer called me. He said, "Chief officer hasn't come up yet." So, as I went and saw, he was literally writhing on the floor.
Oh.
It was bad. It was
So,
Appendicitis?
It turned out to be kidney stone.
Oh,
Yeah.
kidney stone. Very painful, yes.
Yeah.
so then I called the second officer was already there, and I told him to take out the chart of Port Blair. But we didn't have any chart.
No chance. That's not a port that the ships visited those days
Usually.
anyway.
So anyway, we got close, got in contact with the Navy was in charge there. We got in contact with them. They sent the boat, and I went with him. And I was surprised. He needed an X-ray to find out what's wrong. They had the last film with them.
One only.
Last film with them.
That was lucky.
And they
That's why.
did not think it important to take his X-ray.
Yeah, it was.
So, but then we had to sail. And so then I told the doctor there, I said, he was out of earshot. I said, at least you give him a couple of grams of morphine because he was in pain. And so the doctor said that it looks like stone in the kidney. I said, then why don't you take the X-ray and ascertain what is wrong? He said, his life is as important as an Indian Navy life, right?
Okay.
So it's just that we are doing a different service in a different kind of Navy.
So that was a naval hospital then?
No,
is it?
no.
No.
Municipal.
A municipal hospital, but it catered mostly to the Navy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we set sail to Calcutta, but he was there before us.
No, maybe not. I was there for 5 days. And I had the privilege of being in the central jail historical place.
Yes.
Because
in
one
Port Blair.
wing of that was the hospital.
Hospital, yes, yes.
Amazing.
So,
But from there on, I mean, then we met up again over the years when you came to Scindia office.
Yes.
You were superintendent there. And then, as Scindia folded, everybody knows, we found ourselves in adjoining rooms in the barber's office. Yeah.
so you had lots of time together, I can see.
We did.
So, Scindia's was a company that was looked up to with so much reverence and, what do you call, lots of people felt that that was the company because they started at a time when the British were around and so much history, the company brought with it. So, what was it then that set it apart from its rivals? By the time several companies had mushroomed in India in the 60s and 70s. So, what was special about Scindia's then?
Well, when you talk about rivals, there were not many rivals that Scindia's had to meet the standards they had set. Of course, those standards we had no idea when we were juniors, or say even third officer level. But after that, you get to know that the handover of knowledge of training is by the seniors to the juniors mostly on board, and the discipline that is inculcated in you, then respect for ranks. So it was. I was on one ship at one time, and then the second ship, the same thing. The chief officer is very concerned about cadets. Of course, if you didn't walk the line, then you had it. Of course, it was like what your parents would do if you misbehaved. So these things were inculcated in you when you were young, and the quality as far as upkeep of the ship, as far as we had something called Sunday rounds by the master. I continued when I was a master.
Very strictly followed.
Very strictly followed. I continued when I was a master. You will not believe, when I joined Barbers, I told the chief officer, morning rounds, 8 o'clock.
In the office?
No,
on the ship.
On the ship, okay.
In
okay.
Barber.
In Barbers, yes.
So he's telling me, sir, this is not Scindia's.
Yeah.
So I said,
now we know what sets Scindia apart.
So I said, I want to bring it to Scindia's level, right? And I had Sunday rounds every Sunday in Barber.
Well,
So anyway, as far as the upkeep, the training, the regularity of firefighting and life-saving drills are concerned, as far as the cadets and say third officers, they are like a man for all duties, right? So very early in life, you get to learn so many things, and it's only a little later you appreciate that people, they really let you have it and made you learn. So the contact with the office is only at the level of chief officer and master.
Chief engineer. Yeah.
Oh, chief engineer, second engineer. So that is when you interact with the deputy marine superintendent mainly, because marine superintendent is mainly masters, and then also as engineer side there is a deputy. Then you are regularly in contact with the cargo department. You interact with the people who book cargo, and then you have a meeting with them every loading, Calcutta, Bombay. They explain to you the difficulty in getting cargo. So to ensure that the cargo is carried safely and delivered safely at destination. Because after all, your income, it is drilled into you.
Yes.
Your income is coming out of the freight received from carrying cargo. And the freight is given by exporters to be handed over to importers, whether you are on that side or this side. You have to take care of that commodity. It is drilled
Yes,
into you.
yes. Some of the interesting characters you sailed with, other than Captain Thomas, he was quite interesting, but other people you sailed with.
It's a question that it's a trick question. Every character in Scindia was a character, special character. I mean, so many examples where to say, and especially if I start from masters, legendary people like Captain K.M.K. Menon and Captain Ahuja, who were all the Commodore masters.
Commodore masters,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
amazing.
Yes. They had a very special flag as well for themselves.
A separate
is it?
flag.
Yeah,
Separate
not only
flag.
a flag, but being a Commodore master in Scindia, you had at least as far as I know, you had the privilege of choosing your own chief officer.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
And chief engineer.
And chief engineer.
And
yes.
that Commodore tradition was a very special Scindia thing, or was it?
I
all
don't know
over Indian
about.
shipping.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
I don't think it was.
Or maybe they started it and then later on some
Could
other
be,
companies
could be,
took it
but-
up as well.
But the Commodore's Burgee that flew
Yes, the
separately.
Commodore Burgee, yes.
And then this thing about, and also they of course had the choice of whichever ship they wanted and whichever run, and most importantly, who was the mate. And if you knew Captain Ahuja when he selected the mate, I was his mate. The mate ran the ship, the master never to be seen. So, and if by mistake somebody went up to the captain's deck and in the port, and happened to knock on his door, the mate had it. How did he allow that to happen? Amazing it was.
So, there's such an emotional bond people had with this company, because I can see that after all these years, there's something in your heart that sort of reverberates when you think of the Scindias. So, what was your reaction when you heard that the company was now on its last legs?
But before that, can I tell you two interesting people?
Yes.
Yeah. As a cadet, first time as a cadet on board, we had an elderly radio officer. So, and he was a guy who liked to talk. He used to treat everybody, even the crew, very well. So one evening in port, it was in a foreign port, so we youngsters were there, so he also came along. And so he related his experience. He was on a freighter during the war, and the Liberty ship, it was bombed by a U-boat, all of them in the water. So he was one of the lucky guys who got saved. There were people who lost their lives. That was one. Then 1971 Bangladesh war. I was second mate on a ship. We went to Ploče, that is the old Yugoslavia.
Yes.
Ploče, yeah.
Old Yugoslavia. And we loaded the whole ship full of weapons. That is tanks, and then we had shells and fuses in two separate containers on deck.
Oh, but-
So the deck was full. The Captain Sarkar, I still remember, he was a bachelor. So he had to go to the Indian embassy in Belgrade, and he got special sailing instruction. So we took a route. I was second officer. So he told me, okay, you lay the course up to Gibraltar. Then after that, I'll give you what course. So we were all going from the middle of the Atlantic, nowhere near the coast, and we were coming towards India. So once we came to the Indian coast, two Navy vessels escorted us to Mumbai. Once we reached Mumbai, he called all of us officers and he's telling us, he says, we need to thank God that we have reached safely. I have instructions with me, it is in my pocket. If we are boarded by any Pakistani craft, I have also informed the chief engineer. Open the valves, scuttle the ship.
Oh,
Oh
God.
my God. Amazing.
I'm telling you a fact.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, believe it.
Right.
Absolutely.
So-
Interesting.
It was, and when we heard about loading this, and then Captain told us about Pakistani submarines, this, that, and all, everybody was worried. Everybody. Radio silence. We are not starting the radio.
Communicating, no
Absolute
communication.
radio silence all over. And we came into Bombay, and till all the cargo was discharged, we couldn't go ashore. So it was a very tense voyage that I experienced, and I admire that captain. He was trying his best to keep all our spirits up. So you learn a lot from such people.
Yes,
Sure.
yes, great.
Well, coming to your question, your question was what went through our minds when we saw, company folding up. The funny thing is, I never saw it. Ships were starting to get delayed. Cargo wasn't available much. There were creditors knocking on the doors and stuff, and then you would be anchored for long periods in certain ports, waiting for payments and so on. The writing was pretty much on the wall, but still people had hopes,
Yeah, of
that,
course.
that
Right
the,
till the end.
company will revive. Unfortunately, the downturn, the commercial part, whatever you may say of the mid 80s, it was.
It took a huge
Yeah,
toll, I
yeah.
think.
And Scindia was not the only company, very
Oh,
big
yes.
names went down at that time.
That's right, yes, yes.
But anyone who I talk to today even will tell you he got all his money. And there's not a single person who told me that, and my money was held back. It may have taken a year or two, but every cent was paid. It was amazing.
Great. So, what do you think are the major contributions of Scindia towards the Indian maritime industry? Because they were the leaders at one stage and they almost dominated the Indian scene.
The biggest contribution is well-trained, well-educated, well-informed officers manning the MMD, manning so many different companies. In fact, SCI started off as Eastern and Western shipping companies.
Yes.
They merged together. All those senior people were ex-Indians.
I see.
And at that time, the same thing goes for a number of other companies where Scindia's executives, they were running those companies. Many senior officers from Scindia's joined ashore. So it was a time where Scindia's expertise, or the expertise that officers learned in Scindia's, was being spread around in Indian shipping.
Yeah, but if you go beyond just the sailing part, let's not forget the contribution of Scindia in shipbuilding.
Oh,
In the-
yes,
you know
that's
what
true,
we know
yes.
today as Hindustan Shipyard, and the first Indian ship, cargo ship, Jalausha, 1948 delivered. At that time, it was Scindia Shipyard.
Yes.
Yes.
It was Indian shipping.
Yes.
And so I think in 52, after independence, then the shipyard was handed over to the government.
They took them over.
Yeah, well, you could say that. But so there is a shipbuilding part, there is also stevedoring, there was Eastern bunkers, so many aspects of shipping which
Scindia Workshop.
Scindia Workshop in Bombay, in Calcutta.
And Scindia Workshop were the only agents in India for McGregor.
Right. For that covers. Sure. So, I mean, they had spread out in many different directions, and from there on, so many other people got opportunity to follow up. Yes,
So the
fantastic.
70s was called the golden era of Scindia's. So, and both of you are part of the 70s.
Yes.
So, what can you say about this period? What was so special then?
I can tell you for sure, financially, we got over 2 or 3 years, 50% of our wages in bonus.
Oh.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I was going to say that. Shareholders at AGM were so happy.
So happy.
4-5 months was it bonus only?
4
Yeah.
or 5 months of basic as bonus.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And through the shareholders, whatever
Yes.
the dividend was. So amazing.
Yes.
It was-
So, I mean, it's very rare that the seafarers also are part of the bonus schemes. Often they are left to shareholders and to the people who work in the company offices.
everyone. Not only that, very few people know that Scindia's shares were the only company shares worth 20 rupees each. And during that time, with 70 ships, Scindia's amongst the listed companies was number 3
Wow.
Yeah.
Number 3 is something.
in market
Yes,
capitalization.
yes.
Was number 3 for a while.
Yes.
Well, I don't think we had 70 ships, if I remember.
67 we had.
Don't remember exact number, but then that was the peak period of
Yes.
fleet-wise. And from there, of course, they started dropping. The last brand new building that we got into the fleet, Chalatapi, is 1978 built. After that, no fresh new building
No new
came in.
ones.
Although not trying, Scindia tried, but by that time, government policies had changed. There was a lot of restrictions in acquiring not only new ship, even old ship.
It's not such a case of what we have been given to believe often, that Scindias did not diversify in time.
They
It was
had-
more they were restricted in diversifying.
They had an oboe built in Sweden called
Walchan.
Walchan.
Walchan, yes.
Yes, Walchan. A 103,000 ton vessel. And it used to carry alternately bulk and oil.
I've been on that.
You've been on that, so you know.
Yeah.
And there was one Captain Master by batch over there.
No, I was with Captain Menon and Mosquito.
Okay. So the restriction was there, which of course you have to confirm before you put it on the air. You know? But this is what I heard from people in the office. He says, we can get the loan, we can pay the initial amount, but and there are tankers available second hand in the market, so we can, and we have got expertise in carrying oil with Walchan. But
I'll just interrupt there. Tankers available in second hand in the market. The name of the tanker was Neptune Garnet. I was the mate nominated for that tanker. In December 1983, I did tanker safety course to be prepared to take over that ship. 6 months we waited. Captain Jesse Dorado was nominated as master. Tanker never came.
But maybe it has something to do with, the industry reeling from Jayantis, they had gone into this tailspin because, and they had a lot of tankers. And so maybe there were these restrictions coming in because a lot of instances where commercial, difficulties had arisen, so they were reluctant to let private companies come in and start doing
But
oil
the
transportation.
private companies have to find business,
Yes.
whether it is into India or whether it's to another country. And if you have the wherewithals, you will try and find. But we had no ships.
But there's another point, not only tankers. If you talk of containerization, I mean, the only Indian ship that could be called fully cellular container ship was not even an Indian ship, but it was run by Scindia's, Jala Poitiers, French flag.
Is it?
Yes. She was chartered by Scindia then long term, and then the ship was painted in Scindia colors, funnel and everything. Scindia ran that ship for more than a year, maybe 2 years.
So almost 2 years.
2 years, and then I
Sorry,
had to.
sorry, what's the name again? Jella?
Poitiers.
Poitiers,
Poitiers
Poitiers.
was the French name. Jala was added.
I see.
But it was a huge loss for Scindia because it was ahead of their time.
So, in 2019, you all had a very nice celebration. That was the 100th anniversary of Scindia's foundation. And give me something about that. What happened? How did it feel to have all these old colleagues come back together and?
Right. So we are talking about 2019 when that year came around. Said we got to do something special, and call went out to all ex-India people, those who even served in offices ashore, not only just seafarers. We had a collection of more than 300 people, wives included.
Wow.
And this is what each one of them got. I don't know if you can focus on it, but it's a plaque commemorating the 100th year of Scindia from its foundation day, and all those who attended.
Zoom
It's-
karna?
Can you take a look at it?
We'll take a picture and then
Yeah, sure.
leave it in there.
Yeah.
And you also have this.
Yeah, no, I'll come to that later. But among the people who I think I should mention, The oldest member who attended that was Captain T.E.M. Rosario, at that time age 102.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's from Pune, I think.
Yes, he
right?
came from Pune.
Yes.
He was on a wheelchair and everything.
Yes.
But, and then, of course, Captain J.C. Anand, close behind, at that time maybe 99.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. So would you say working in Scindia gave you longevity? Or
yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you
The
bet.
food was good.
The food was good.
Those food was good.
It showed.
And there were some other equally legendary chief engineers and masters who came and,
Captain Prabhakar was there.
Captain Prabhakar, J.K. Chaudhary, I remember quite a few. And since then, like, that was the high point. Since now it's 2024, in between we had COVID and all, but it's time to get people back together again. Like I was telling you, it's a closed membership now.
Yeah.
You were ex-India.
No new members
and
here.
No new members. And a declining membership. So, yeah,
Yes.
you got to do something. Great.
So you have this list of officers and agents.
Yeah.
What's that about, Yankee?
This came out every year, a little booklet, and I happen to have this. Actually, this is from 1984. And what's in it is, of course, the agents' addresses all over the world, and that tells you how widespread the Jalaf ships used to be. The Scindia flag was all over the world. But also, interestingly, is the names of all the ships and the details, and also the names of all the people in the office, Bombay office, starting with Sumati Ben chairman. All of them are in the book, so it's amazing keepsake, that way.
Excellent.
It has another very important function too. Those days when we were sailing, we had to depend on letters.
Yes.
There was no emails and all that. So if a letter is posted today, it probably reaches us a month later.
Yeah, right.
So if your wife gets information from the office that the ship is going to so and so port, she just has to look into this book and send it to this particular address.
Directly, yes.
Direct, yes.
So
It was
the-
direct
the
mailing.
company office.
That's right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, Yankee, before we close, I'd like you, both of you are members of CMMI.
Yes.
I'd like to hear from you why anybody should join CMMI, why the youngsters should come in and be a part of CMMI. So, would you like to go first?
Yeah.
That's-
As far as CMMI is concerned, we need to take a cue from the engineers organization. We have to be more focused on activities like training, more focused on having seminars with topics that are going to be coming into shipping. So we need to have the younger generation also involved. In fact, sailing masters and sailing chief officers involved, so that they will realize the usefulness of CMMI and become members without anybody forcing them to be. The importance of CMMI so far, it has been okay. We have an annual meet, a dinner, a few seminars here and there thrown in between, but that is not sufficient. We need to have even lectures by experts. There are so many people amongst the people who are here ashore who have expertise in different fields, be it in a particular cargo like LNG or LPG, or having knowledge and expertise in any particular field related to shipping. Need to have all that dispersed, and the whole lot of us more involved in it.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm proud to be a fellow of CMMI, and although I've never stood for elections or been in office-bearing capacity, for obviously the reason that if I couldn't give sufficient time to it, then I didn't think it would be fair. So that's the only reason. But looking at CMMI over the years, rather than the engineer side, I would like to take a nautical institute as a kind of a benchmark, which CMMI should try to emulate, which means you need a business model. You know, it's not just a simple association of people. You need to go beyond that. Develop that as a business model. And when that happens, then all the other stuff that you just talked about can take, more solid shape and be more meaningful. Right now, it's just whoever can do something kind of free, you got to get rid of that thinking. Business model, that's what I say.
Also, they off and on you see on that site on WhatsApp that they are knocking their heads where things haven't changed. Like, for instance, increase of fleet, involved in shipbuilding. I mean, these are areas beyond our scope. That is left to people in business, people who own shipyards or who are in the business of shipbuilding or dry docking or whatever. Of course, it hurts to see that when you go across to a desert called Dubai, that shipyard they have built is massive.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
And we have got locations like Mumbai, we got locations like Goa, we locations like Cochin, which are excellent places and well located, particularly south of India, to have a well laid out repair shop. We have not done nothing. These are being discussed in CMMI, but there can be no conclusion till somebody in government also realizes the importance of all this. So CMMI has to be involved with things which is within their scope.
Actually, Kamal, if you permit, I need to go back into Scindia. This was a little bit of a surprise that you threw at us, CMMI. Before ending on Scindia, I did want to say one thing about the question you raised, 70s or the golden period and all of that.
Yes.
Apart from the commercial and the ships and the assets, floating assets, and of course the people, the officers, I think one also needs to appreciate the unwritten HR policies. I should say they would be more like HR practices that held the people together. The training part that you mentioned, automatically nobody had to ask for it. You just did it. But also with the very great confidence that you would be looked after as you went on in your career. And you know what is the secret of that? You had to start in Scindia as a cadet.
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
Climb the ladder there.
You had to climb the ladder. And even in the gravest of officer shortages, it was rare for Scindia to pick up anyone from outside, especially at senior rank. No chance.
Nobody.
No chance.
But they had cultivated the cadres.
That's right. I mean, I remember you said you just had a master from Navy and all of that. Scindia, no.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Not a single one.
So as long as there is a mate with a master's ticket serving the company, there won't be any recruitment from outside. And that kind of, yeah.
We had a master, what's his name? From a seaman to master.
Yeah, you could be from seaman to master,
Yes.
but you had to be Scindia.
Scindia is
Scindia
all the
Seaman.
way.
Scindia
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
And he did well.
Yeah,
So-
fiercely protected, this part of it. Yeah.
You have heard about Dave Kapadia?
Dev Kapadia, I know.
His
Yeah.
father was a bosun.
Okay. Yeah.
I see.
Amazing.
Great.
Seniors.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Really enjoyed going back in history and reminiscing about the golden days of Scindias, like they say, and so much pride, prestige they brought not only to the Indian fleet but to India actually. So, thank you so much for giving us your time, sir.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
And before you leave, I have this little souvenir for you to take away, anchored together. You
Great.
can have your coffee in that every morning.
Oh, yes.
And remember that you were with us for one evening when you gave us so much about Scindias.
Lovely. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Thank
Pleasure.
you. Thank you.
Viewers, thank you so much for being with us. And we are so happy that you are part of us from today. Every time you turn into our channel, you are contributing in one way or another to this wonderful industry. Thank you so much. And you have a great day. We will see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
So Mona, do you have a bucket list? Anything which you still want to do, or anything, any place you still want to visit? Anything on your bucket list?
First of all, I would say is I would like to go to Tulip Gardens, Amsterdam.
Okay.
That Silsila song was sung there. That I'm forgetting the song. Amitabh Bachchan and Rekha.
Ye Kahan Aate
No, not that song.
Acha.
I'm forgetting that song. That
Okay.
Tulip Gardens, I want to visit that.
Alright.
If I get a chance,
Okay.
definitely.
But we are the chiffon sari, you know.
No. I want to see the Tulip Gardens. I'm thinking for since a long time.
Okay.